Rolling. 1, 2, 3.
We were standing on a mountaintop where the cactus flowers grow. I was wishing the world would stop, and you said we better go. Took a rowboat across the Rio Grande. Captain Pablo was our guide. For $2 in a weathered hand, he rowed us to the other side. We were dreaming like it was not inside, and we dreamed all afternoon. That's the world away, we could celebrate the Ringo Honeymoon. We stepped out onto the golden sand. The sun was high and burning down. Rented donkeys from an old blind man, saddled up the road to town, and tied the donkeys to an ironwood tree by the street where the children played. We went in the first place we could see, serving cold beer in the shade. We were drinking like it was not inside, and we drank all afternoon. That's the world away, we could celebrate the Gringo Honeymoon. Cowboy who said that he was running from the DEA. Left his home, his wife, family when he made his getaway. We followed him on down a street of dust to his one-room rundown shack. He blew a smoke ring, he smiled at us. I ain't never going back. We were flying like it was not inside, and we sold that afternoon. That's the world away, we can celebrate the Gringo Honeymoon. There's one last place that you should go. He took us to the town's best bar. He knew a rusty caballero, played an old gut string guitar, sang like Marty Robbins could, play like no one I've known. For a while we knew that life was good. It was ours to take back home. We were singing like it was not inside, and we sang all afternoon. That's the world away, we could celebrate the Gringo Honeymoon. Standing on a mountaintop where the cactus flowers grow. I was wishing the world would stop when you said Growing up in Houston was like the urban experience for me in that, like, went to public school and lived in a middle class neighborhood, rode my bike to school, and my parents worked downtown. I was a mediocre student at best, except for when it came to, oddly enough, math and music kind of thing. But music was such a sidebar at our public school that was not a very big part of it. But I, scraped and clawed my way through school. Never was athletic. That was like a thing that was like kind of a surprise from the beginning. It was like, all these people can do these things, and I can't do these things. And so in general, I just kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say I was just flat out outlier, but I was pretty much, the quiet person in the class a lot of the time. And unless it was about, say 5th grade, they had this poetry contest. So, people wrote one poem, I wrote 10 poems, and then got them all put on the board in the hallways. At my 15 seconds were the, prepubescent celebrity there at that time. I like poetry, and my mother used to pay me $0.25 to memorize certain poems, like Robert, Stopping on the Woods, a Snowy Evening kind of thing. And so she'd pay me $0.25 to memorize these poems. So that induced the whole idea of poetry was a real thing to me. So I got where I could put those together, and I mean, just in a very simple A-B kind of rhyme scheme way, but they were solid, and somewhere in a box somewhere there's a whole pile of them. And they were all pastoral kind of poems where it was about the sea or the mountains, things that I actually wasn't part of in Houston at all. And but they were dreamscapes a lot of times, and they were always, and I always had a tendency to go with kind of an upbeat ending, how like the world all comes shining down on you at a certain point. Not necessarily the speaker or the narrator, but it's just a shining world out there,
1, 2, 3, 4.
Guess we come full circle, we're strangers once again. It's hard to know we'd ever come to this. It's funny you were saying you'll miss the good old times. Well, all along I'm thinking you're the one I'll miss. Love's a word I never throw around. When I say I love you till the end, I'm talking about until the day they lay me in the ground. Love's a word I never throw around. I'd like to think you're leaving. I treated you unkind. Maybe you just found somebody new. I know the only reason you're leaving me behind is you're no longer feeling the way I feel for you. Love's a word I never throw around. When I say I love you till the end, I'm talking about until the day they lay me in the ground. Love's a word I never throw around. So I'm going to the country, spend some time out in the woods, counting stars and sleeping all alone. I can't say for certain it'll do me any good. This time I grew accustomed to being on my own. Love's the word I never go around. When I say I love you till the end, I'm talking about until the day they lay me in the ground. Love's the word I never throw around. By the time I picked up the guitar when I went to A&M, and I didn't play very long at all. I learned about 3 chords, and I put together the whole poetry and songwriting thing. And I thought, well, hell, I can write a song. So, I've forgotten the first few songs that I wrote, but some of them were about the oil field. I also worked as a roughneck in the summer, so wrote a few of those. They were very Jimmy Buffett-esque because I was like a Jimmy Buffett fan at the same time. And that was kind of off of that Willie picnic that I went to in '74 because he was there, and that was where I kind of became a fan of what he did. And I liked his like personal narrative sort of situation about how he put together songs. That was somewhat an opening to, you can write songs just about your life. For me, and what I try to get across is clarity. The other thing is some amount of narrative is always helpful for me again, and then I would say the melody is really important. I mean, you can drone along on a melody on a D chord forever and have some really, really brilliant lyrics, but it won't punch the ideas. And people that I've written with, have a certain feel for making those chords emphasize that message or that thought or that word, and that is it's all important as far as I'm concerned, and it's always something that I wrestle with because I'm so lyric oriented, and it doesn't just come naturally. But over time, you can it's like my daughter Chloe says, it's a skill, Dad. You can learn it, and so there is a skill part to it, but there is an innate talent to it. You can count if you want. You can count it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Busted old town, Plains of West Texas. The drugstores closed down, the rivers run dry. The semis roll through like stainless steel stallions, going hard, going fast, going wild. Rolling hard, rolling fast, rolling by. The mission still stands, the edge of the plateau. The storm marks the grave where the old cowboys lie, asleep in time, just a young man going hard, going fast, going wild, rolling hard, band don't play no Friday night picture, no big silver screen to light up the sky. Gone in the days of post-wartime lovers, going hard, going fast, going wide, rolling hard, rolling fast, rolling by. Me, I stand here at the last filling station while the wind moans a dirge to a coyote's cry. I jump in my car, I'm out on the highway, going hard, going fast, going wide, rolling hard, rolling fast, rolling by. As far as like being an artist and being a performing artist, I really believe that you have to share yourself with the audience, and that the audience is truly, like the Aggies have this thing, the 12th man, which comes from an old myth about one of the guys, the 11 guys on the football field fell out, and one of the guys that was in the stands jumped in and became the 12th man, became the, was a substitute. And I think of audiences as the 12th man. If the 12th man weren't there, nothing would be happening. So you have to, and I really do see this in other performers. I think generous performers, if you give generously of yourself on there, and I'm not talking about being silly or anything, but there's a certain amount of, I don't know, and it's hard to describe what it is, but there's a certain amount of stinginess with some performers, and they just don't want to let you have it all, and they just don't want to give it to you, and you don't want to be a total whore and everything, or prostitute, but you do want to let them know that you're willing to give it all to them, if you can, and I think that that's a huge part of it. I see players that I feel are really, really stingy players. They know these licks, but they won't play it. They won't play them because they're saving them for some reason or something, right? And I never really understood that. I want to get out there and give people. The other thing is, I always had a certain rhythm for humor and pathos in what I do. So you go too much to. One of the times I went to the Bluebird and it said Robert Earl Keen, singer-songwriter, comedian. And when I saw that, I went, oh no, I can't be a comedian because I can't be funny all the time. I just couldn't do it. I'm in awe of comedians, be able to do that when you're in a really terrible mood. And I thought, no, I can't do that. So I actually kind of dialed it back some, my whole, what Harlan Howard one time called me your little yuck, yuck, pluck, pluck show, So I dialed it back on my yuck, yuck, pluck, pluck show. And I other than that, as far as exactly what the magic bullet point is about that, the only thing I can really point to is Neil Diamond, you know, seriously generous performer, right? Gonna give it out, gonna give it all to him, you know. You know, even Barry Manilow, people like that, they're giving it out, they're blasting it out. So people feel satisfied with that, and they want to feel satisfied, and they want to bring their friends so their friends can say, you know, I heard this song. Now you can't play every song in your canon, right? But you can certainly touch on them, or you can, you know, you don't have to like all of a sudden decide like I'm not going to play that song anymore or do all that business. You know, it's just I never took that stance, but I never played the same set twice either. You know, so you keep a certain variety, keep a certain levity about the whole thing. It's, you know, in some ways, like a lot of things in life, it's a balance.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Seemed like yesterday I was here, dreaming my life away, drinking beer, staying up to dawn, strumming on guitars, and sleeping all day long like a big rock star. They're living on money from tip jars. Yeah. Our little place up a block, I had a French girlfriend. I love the way she talked. We spent our afternoon watching TV. Find things to do we could do for free. We split up, she said, you don't do enough for me. Oh, don't you know, baby, can't you see now I am guilty of a dreadful selfish crime. Myself of all my precious time. At my first gig here, this neighborhood, we had a little band I thought was good, and I hot mo shotgun, bought a used PA. Got a quarter rum and we drank it all day. When a big gig comes, we're too drunk to play. Sometimes it happens that way. Yeah, I am guilty of a dreadful selfish crime. My precious time, oh, I'm gonna sing it again. I am guilty of a dreadful selfish crime, and I rob myself Sometimes I can't believe those days are gone.
Those days are gone.
Most of my friends back then, they done moved on. One's in Hollywood, one's a zillionaire. Yeah, some are gone for good, some still living here. Precious time. Well, what it lacked in finesse, it made up in fun.
Oh, yeah.
When I got into high school, I got into this old cowboy thing, and where everybody was back then. It was you were a redneck or a kicker, which is you might remember that particular part of time, but I don't know what they call them now. But anyway, kind of on the cowboy side, listened to a lot of country music. Went out to, my parents had a little place outside of Columbus, Texas, where by the time I got a driver's license when I was 16, I was out there from, skip school Friday and be out there from Friday till Monday morning. And went to all these dances. Back then they had, it was still pretty solidly that area between Columbus and, say, LaGrange and Brenham and south to, say, Hallettsville and stuff. That was really heavily German and Czech community. You might know this, but at that time, the third most spoken language in the state of Texas was Czech, and it was ahead of German. So there was, English, Spanish, and then Czech, and then German. And so I went to a lot of polka things, a lot of dances. And so that thing out in the country was just about going to dances and dancing and meeting girls and being kind of with some like-minded people as far as like country music and even the more traditional Czech and German kind of polka stuff. Fell in love with this girl. There was an artist over in Fayetteville, and I just wanted to write a full-blown love song about how that worked. And I'd say it wasn't my first love song that I wrote, but I would say it was the first one that connected all the dots, put together the setting and the feeling and the dancing and that was for me as well. That was like a real eye-opening experience to be able to take some of that personal narrative, like I said, like Buffett had, and take some of the things I just liked about country music or even polka music, and put it into that waltz time and write that song. So that was one of those. You kicked the door open and it swung wide. So that helped me a lot as far as like moving on from songs from there. It's like not only can you write a song that sounds pretty, but it actually has a message, and you can be specific about the message. Okay. First of the month brings back the notion of the big round white dance hall, the cool summer night. Red-chaired faces set black shoes in motion to the oom-papa rhythm, German delight. I tried hard to tell you I was no kind of dancer, take my hand to prove I was wrong. You guided me gently, I thought I could never. We were dancing together. End of the song. A tall little bald man like a German war hero would buck some old matrons to a quick John Paul Jones. Drapes of crepe paper, a ball made a mirror, cast shiny reflections on a brass slide trombone. I tried hard to tell you I was no kind of dancer, take my hand to prove I was wrong. You guided me gently, though I thought I could never. We were dancing together. The end of the song. Now the man was still dancing with his phantom partner, though the band had quit playing at the evening's end. It made me feel lucky I had a partner to teach me the dance steps and come back again. I tried hard to tell you I was no kind of dancer, take my hand to prove I was wrong. You guided me gently, though I thought I could never. We were dancing together. The end of the song. I tried hard to tell you, take my hand to prove I was wrong. You guided me gently, though I thought I could never. We were dancing together. The end of the song. Oh. I'm very visual on everything, so I really try to build like the set first, like as if you were building a play. I try to build the set and give some color, and then place the characters in there, like as opposed to like Bob jumps in the pickup. I like to like make it where there's just a little bit of exposition as far as like what the set looks like or what the scene looks like, and then start putting the characters in there. And then sometimes, I mean, it's flat out magical. Like it feels like the characters just interact on their own, or things happen for them, and that to me is key to really having a really great story, because you've got to have some kind of visual for people that are visual like we are, where they know where you are. You're there, you're there. And, I'd say anyway, probably 50% of the population thinks somewhat that way, so that really grabs them. And that to me, that's how you have to start always. I remember specifically sitting in my little space where I wrote a lot, which was like sitting out by this fountain that I built, and thinking about these two characters. One worked for Kathleen at the nursing home, and her name was Sherry, right? And she had this boyfriend that was like this totally no good guy, and Sherry's always trying to hold the line, but they were like on the weekends just completely off the hook, right? And then they disappeared, right? And so I just thought, this is where he did this, and all the visual there is, the street, the people, the river, right? The whole thing. And you're right, that's exactly where it all starts. And then I thought east, west, I thought, nah, let's go east. I really kind of flipped a coin, right? And then in some ways, like I said, the characters fall together. It just fell in line. It was really, like a lot of great songs. I wrote the first 3 verses just like boom, like that. And then when Jim told me I needed an anchor song, I sat in Robin's backyard for about 30 minutes and finished the rest of the song. Cher was a waitress, the only joint in town. She had a reputation as a girl who'd been around. Down Main Street after midnight, a brand new pack of cigs, a fresh one hanging from her lips, a beer between her legs. She'd ride down to the river and meet with all her friends. The road goes on forever, and the party never ends. Sonny was a loner, he was older than the rest. He was going to the Navy, couldn't pass the test, so he hung around town, sold a little pot, the log out went to Sonny. One day he got caught, but he was back in business. They set him free again. The road goes on forever, the party never ends. Sonny's played 8-ball at joint with Cher works. When some drunk night down and put his hand in Cherry's skirt. Sonny takes spooky, laid the ground on the floor, dropped $1 tip jar, walked him out the door. She's running right behind him, reaching for his hand. The road goes on forever, the party never ends. Jammed to his big upset, jammed him down in gear. Son of that Cher, let's get on out of here. The stars were high above them, the moon was in the east, the sun was setting on them. They reached Miami Beach, they got a hotel by the water, a quart of Bombay gin. The road goes on forever, the party never ends. Saying Jack. He broke a bathroom window, climbed on out the back. She drove the pickup to the alley on the side where a lawman Jack and Sonny was dreaming him his ride. She stepped into the alley with a singer shot 410. The road goes on forever, the party never ends. After midnight, like it was at 4. 21 months later at the local grocery store, she buys a paper, a cold 6-pack of beer. The headline reads Sonny is going to the chair. She pulls back on the main street in her new Mercedes Benz. The road goes on forever, the party never ends.
Hootenanny.